Hi, I'm Mark Craighead, owner and founder of Crossbreed Holsters. Welcome to Trigger Time. Hey guys, we're glad to have you with us. Let's go talk to Rob Pincus about staging firearms in the home.
Once you've made the decision to have a firearm in your home for the defense of yourself or your family in the worst case scenario, one of the first things you have to deal with is where you're going to stage that firearm. Now there are a lot of options, and if you have multiple firearms, then you might even be able to stage firearms in multiple places in your home. But the consideration for your emergency plan, for your tactics, and even for the viability of being able to use the firearm at all revolve around you thinking about the layout of your home, the likely movement of an attacker, and the likely places that you're going to be. So we're going to go and look at a bunch of options inside of this floor plan, and we're going to start right here near the entryway to this home. Now, if someone comes in through this entryway, if they force their way in, regardless of where I was at the time that happened, and that may very well be the kitchen. Of course, we know a lot of people spend time. This is a very common area. This is the first corner. This is the first place where I would engage that person or become aware of that person, or if I were hiding from that person, this may be the best first place for me to access a firearm, as I'm doing here from this quick access safe, and being in a position where I can continue to move away or defend myself right here if I need to. Now, I'll put this one back in here, and let's first and foremost talk about one important consideration of storing a firearm in the home. Are we going to keep it secured? Are we going to keep it in a safe? Or do we not have to worry about unauthorized access inside of our area because maybe there aren't kids, maybe we live alone, and in fact what we can do is have firearms that aren't secured and are more easily accessible. Perhaps I'm going to have a firearm not in a quick access safe inside of a drawer, but simply placed inside of a holster inside of a drawer, ready to go. Maybe loaded, maybe unloaded. Or maybe when I'm sitting on the couch watching a movie, I've got something even more potent available immediately should I need it in a worst case scenario. If you're going to keep firearms unsecured inside of your home, of course, you need to make sure that that is legal in the area that you live. You need to make sure that you're responsible for whoever has access to your home in general, not just the actual firearms themselves. Because now, anyone who can get into your home absolutely has access to that firearm, and you need to be aware of that. Now here's one that a lot of people don't think of. If you have kids in your house, there's probably a room where the kids live. And if those kids are asleep or if those kids are playing, you may move first and foremost instinctively to that room to secure your kids. If I end up here in the kids' room and I don't have a firearm with me, I might have wanted to stage one here ahead of time. Now, the kids' closet isn't probably where most people think of keeping a firearm. But if you have something set up like this quick access safe that is secure, that is somewhat concealed, and that has a firearm inside of it, ready for use in the worst case scenario, you shouldn't have to worry about your kids having unauthorized access to it. It's locked, it's secured to the wall, and it's no less accessible there than it is in your room or in a closet or in that drawer. The idea is you don't have to worry about your kids getting into your firearm when they're not supposed to, because you've educated them, they know the consequences, and they know how to act responsibly around firearms. Now again, your bedroom is probably also a place that you're going to spend a lot of time, especially at night. Where are you going to be? Sitting inside of your bed. When you're lying in your bed, you want to have quick access to a firearm. And this is a great way to do it, with a bed holster. This holster is designed so that it can be made to hold a whole bunch of different types of firearms very quickly and easily accessible. And of course, if I'm under the covers, I don't even have to move it out of the way before I reach down for it. Also, in the bedroom area, probably going to be your last barricade area. 2, 3, maybe 4 doors in this case. If I can get the family, if I can get anyone in the house behind me into this area, that doorway is my last defense. At my last defense, I might want to have a very capable long gun that I'm going to use to protect myself or others, staged with ammunition or without. Of course, if it's without ammunition, you're going to want to make sure that that ammunition is close by and easily accessible. Ultimately, where you keep your firearm is going to be up to you, up to your family, making sure that it's the right place to be, the responsible place to be, and that it's an option. Ultimately, the place you may have it all the time at the ready is staged right on your body. The decision you make is incredibly important. Think about it.
Now we're going to take a little trip over to Columbus, Georgia. We're going to talk to Jim Gilliland, United States Army sniper of Shadow 6 Consulting, about our introduction to his segments on survival and the survival mindset. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Jim Gillen from Shadow 6 Consulting. I'm here with Mark Craighead from Crossbreed Holsters. There's been a lot of information that's been flowing lately about the survival and the preparedness and the zombie apocalypse and things like that. So basically what we're going to come here to do is give you some real world standard scenarios and understanding and kit basics that will help you in preparing yourself for anything that may happen, whether it be natural or man-made, whether it be something that is long-term or short-term. So one of the first things we want to talk about is the survival mindset. And Mark, you know that the mindset of the survivor, it has everything to do with it.
It's your starting point. It's absolutely key. If you really don't have your mindset pretty much locked in, whether it is a short-term deal, whether it's a long-term deal, a tornado, or even a self-defense situation, if your mindset isn't already dealt with in advance and you've already prepared it to react in the appropriate manner, you've lost before you even start, Jim.
And the biggest misconception is knowledge versus ability. You can take classes, you can go to schools, you can do a lot of things and read books and videos and know how to do a lot of things. But until you get on the ground and you get dirty and you go ugly early, you don't know how to do something. You can watch somebody and understand how a firebow works, or you can understand how you can build shelters. But until you've actually gone out there and done it, you don't really know how it works or how you can do it. So that's something we're going to talk through also, is the practice part of it. So, and understanding that your amount of time given in will increase dramatically the amount of percentage your survival rate is. Because based on your plans, based on your flexibility, based on your environment, and based on the amount of time that you've practiced, is what's actually going to make your survival rate go way up.
Yep, absolutely. And I want to touch back on, if you haven't done it, you might know it, but can you really do it? Again, that doesn't matter if you're talking about being on the pistol range. That doesn't matter if you're talking about having to deal with long range shooting, or simply how to build a campfire. There's different ways to do that. Some of them are easy. You might be in a situation where it's not so easy, and you might want to know some alternate methods.
No, absolutely. Another thing we're going to bring into it is the building of a basic survival kit or preparedness kit. And that goes from as small as the things that you carry on you every day to a pack that you have that you can leave in your vehicle or carry with you that can get you in or out of a situation. Now, adaptability, flexibility, and luck, all these things is what brings your survival chances higher. Now, the first two of those can be practiced, can be trained, and can be relied on. The luck, that just comes and goes. So it really depends on what your situation gives you, whether you can rely on that. But your practice is what's going to give you the flexibility and the adaptability and the survivability through any of the scenarios.
Does luck become less important if your first two are more and more solid?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. If you are well prepared, flexible, and adaptive, and you have the mindset ready there, I think a lot of it is you're making your own luck in situations. You get that lucky spark off your firebow, or you get that lucky spark off of your lighter that wasn't working. But all these things is you've set yourself up so that luck absolutely falls in your favor. So the other thing that we're going to talk about during this series is the ability to communicate with other people and to bring the family and the community aspect into it. There's a lot of needs from people that everyone has that you don't really realize until there's nobody else there. So the family and community aspect is going to be huge.
And I have to agree with that. We've all seen the issues where, we've all seen the Book of Eli. And I think people really need to realize, whether it's a short-term or long-term situation, the lone wolf really isn't going to do as well as he thinks he will. You're going to need people, you're going to need preparedness, you're going to need some family and some help.
Absolutely. So I really hope you take the time, pay attention to the episodes, and watch everything else that's going on, and learn something that might save you or your family's life sometime. This is Shadow 6. You gotta stay prepared.
Now we're going to go get with Brandon LaBeouf of no-attack firearms training in New Orleans, maybe over a cup of gumbo, and see what he's got to say about defensive mindset. Let's head south.
I have had the unfortunate but enlightening opportunity to speak with several people who have had to use a firearm to save their own life or the life of a loved one. None of them said they woke up that morning and thought, today is the day I will be thrust into the worst situation of my life. By all accounts, the day started off like every other day. One of these people, who has found himself in this situation multiple times due to his commitment to serve this country, has often said, you do not choose the moment chooses you. Will you be ready? That is a question we must all ask ourselves daily. Are we ever really ready? We spend a lot of time and effort on training and equipment for something that by all accounts, the average law-abiding American will never find themselves ever having to use. It is not unlike the fire extinguisher in your kitchen or vehicle insurance. We buy it, hoping to never need it, but not daring to be caught without it. It is physical preparation, and while physical preparation is very important, it is not enough. We must be mentally prepared also. We must be mentally prepared for the responsibility we will shoulder when we decide to carry a firearm on a daily basis. We must also be prepared for the sacrifices we must make. We sacrifice the luxury to be hasty to anger. Remember, in every fight when you are carrying, there is at least one gun involved, yours. We make the sacrifice of blissful ignorance as we knowingly accept that society will hold us to a higher standard of care in our safety, responsibility, and integrity. We shoulder that responsibility willingly and without pause, for we know it is absolutely required when we choose to carry a firearm, and we would make no other choice lest we weaken our physical ability to stop violence against ourselves and those we love who count on us for their protection. Most importantly, we shoulder the responsibility to be held accountable for our actions. Should those actions be incorrect, in haste, or ill-intention, we must own those mistakes and the consequences that follow. It is for this reason that training and education is a journey with no destination. It is a book with no ending. A firearm is a tool. It is a tool that has many applications. It is not the tool that determines its work. It is the mind of the man that controls the tool which does. They say, guns don't kill people, people kill people. No truer words have ever been spoken. Evil does not lie in the hands of man. It lies in the hearts of evil men. Evil men will always find the tools they need to dispense their evil. People often ask me, why do you carry a gun everywhere you go? Are you really that scared? Are you paranoid? Fear does not enter into my equation to carry a firearm for defense, any more than it does for making sure there is air in my vehicle's spare tire, or good batteries in my smoke detectors. I carry a gun because sometimes bad things happen to good people, and I want to be prepared to mitigate me possibly being one of those good people that bad things decides to pick on one day. I also often hear, well, I just do not want to live like that. That is an unfortunate ideology because violent people typically do not ask what we want when they decide to victimize us. Reality is all around us if only we take the time to see it. Our decision to ignore it does not make it go away. It only makes us blind to its inherent dangers. Open your eyes, and more importantly, your mind. This is the first step to a safer life. Do not have an absolute mind. Be adaptive and a problem solver. This is what allows you to see trouble before trouble sees you. With this tactic alone, you dramatically decrease your chances of being involved in an incident with potential life-altering consequences. Why do I carry a gun? I carry a gun because I love my family and they love me. They count on me to make it home to them every day, and I would not be honoring that love if I did not equip myself mentally and physically to make sure that happens. Is today the day? Is today the day that I am thrust into the worst possible situation life could throw at me? I do not know. What I do know is that I do not choose the moment. The moment chooses me, and I am one day closer to being ready.
Now we're off to Memphis to get with Jason and Jabo of Ronin Combat Strategies for them to talk to us about the importance of and how to effectively shoot, move, and communicate.
Guys, Jason and Jabo here with Ronin Combat Strategies. Today we're down at the DeSoto Rifle and Pistol Club in Como, Mississippi. We're going to talk a little bit about shoot, move, and communicate.
Guys, here at Ronin, we like to expand past pulling the trigger. A lot of schools you go to will teach you how to shoot well. We believe in teaching you how to fight. Part of that is going to be moving through a structure, tight spaces, knowing your environment, because we fight in a 360-degree environment. Most people will stand on a flat range and just be concerned with what's in front of them. We want you to be aware of everything around you. We also understand that you might not be by yourself. You're going to need to communicate with your partner. Another thing that we preach is knowing the condition of your weapon at all times. We believe in real life, if you're not aware of the condition of this weapon and you have what we call a dead man's gun, meaning it goes click instead of bang, there's a stiff penalty. If you come to a running course, we have a different kind of penalty. Come check that out.
Guys, combat mindset. Too many times we have shooters come through courses that step up to the line, they fire a drill, and when we finish, they just stop. It's almost like quitting in the gunfight. We want you to keep your mind in the fight. Saying that, stay in the fight, keep the gun running, and get the hit, speed and accuracy. At the end, once you're done with your shooting drill, you need to run through post-shooting procedures. We have a drill that we do. It's kind of like your mantra or ritual. I step up to the target. I engage the target 3 to 5 rounds. The target goes down. Guys, I need to keep the sights on the target. My finger stays on the trigger. I'm checking the condition of the target or the threat. Is he down? Do I need to shoot him anymore? Once I'm satisfied that threat is no longer a threat, I'm going to scan. My finger's going to come off the trigger. My sight's lower. My sights come off the target. I look left and right. Is there anything downrange? That immediate threat area is clear. At that point, guys, I'll go muzzle up, muzzle down, finger safety. I'm going to scan 360 degrees. I'm checking my surroundings. I'm also looking for my partner. If I need to communicate with my partner, is everything clear? Is my partner okay? Has my partner been shot? Once that's done, guys, I punch back out on the target and I confirm the threat is still down. He's still not a viable threat downrange. The threat is down. I come up, I close the dust cover. At that point, that tells me to breathe, relax. I also check myself for holes. Have I been shot? I don't know it yet. Shot in the leg, shot in the elbow, in the arm, in the extremities. I'm good to go. At that point, then I can relax and finish the drill.
Romeo! Kilo!
Find him.
Find it. Prepare to move.
Some issues we run into typically is accuracy. The shots have to be there for us. Shot placement is paramount. Shot placement is our key to successfully ending this situation. One thing that a lot of people forget is it's very important to know where that rifle or where that weapon is printing at different distances. Most of us will zero the weapon and then we'll forget about it, but at the distance inside a normal residence, 7 to 10 yards, we're looking at a 2.5-inch difference between the optic and the barrel, known as offset.
Yeah, guys, and also watch the movement to the barricades. We talk about shoot, move, and communicate. We want the guys to move, but you got to get there quick. Some guys like to move a little slow once they bound from barricade to barricade. The truth is you're out, you're not behind cover anymore, so you got to get there as quick as you can, get there set up so you can stage up and get your shots off. Jay was talking about speed and accuracy. We also got to look at the barricades, use of cover. A lot of guys love the crowd cover, and you see that whether it's on the competition stage or it's in the real world or it's law enforcement or whatever. And the reality is there's targets downrange, and everybody feels like the closer I get to cover, the less I'm going to be exposed. You got to back off a little bit. We like 2 to 3 feet off the muzzle. I'm still behind good hard cover. I'm using the cover or the barricade for cover. It provides me with some sort of protection from the rounds coming in downrange.
Also, guys, communicate. There's a lot of physiological stuff that happens when we elevate our heart rates. One of the things we lose is the ability to communicate, so we believe in training for that here. You'll hear loud verbal commands. I need to consider auditory exclusion, tunnel vision, diminished fine motor control. All those things are going to set in as our heart rate elevates. So one thing we train for, again, this is only part of it. We also need to practice communication.
And the last thing you saw during those drills was a lot of those shooters, as they stepped up to that barricade, whether it was at the end of the drill or at the barricade before movement, guys, you got to breathe and relax. You got to get oxygen in your system. Too many guys, they hold their breath during the shooting drills. So we talked about post-shooting procedures, guys. I check the target. I check my surroundings. I'm back down range. I tack reload if I need to. Breathe, relax, close the dust cover. You're good to go.
Ronin out.
Hey all, Mark Craighead with Crossbreed Holsters here. I'd like to speak with you a minute about our flagship product and the one that put us on the map, the Super Tuck Deluxe. It's a simple design intended for inside the waistband carry. Consists of a broad leather backer and a Kydex scabbard. What you get with that is you get a holster that spreads the weight of the weapon out evenly, allowing more comfortable carry, and also prevents any pokes, pinches, or gouges. This particular model features our combat cut, which allows you a full grip on the draw. It's available in cowhide or horsehide, is adjustable for ride depth and cant with the clips, and is frankly, what we like to say, the ugliest holster you'll ever love. Please find out more about the Crossbreed Super Tuck Deluxe and our other fine concealed carry products at www.crossbreedholsters.com or give us a ring at 866-HOLSTER. We'll see you next time on Trigger Time.
Hey guys, my name's Michelle Viscusi and I'm here to talk about Century Solutions Field Grade Gear Care Kit. Centered around their flagship Tough Cloth, it stops rust, removes fingerprints, and has a long-lasting lint-free protection. Next is a superior oil-free lubricant and protection that repels dirt and stops rust called Tough Glide, and their pinpoint needle applicator for hard-to-reach places. Last is the Gatco Super Micro Blade Sharpener. Find out more at CenturySolutions.com.
That was a great first show. Thanks for being with us, folks. Myself and the crew here at Trigger Time would like to dedicate our first episode to the 318th Special Operations Squadron in Cannon Air Force Base. We appreciate your support.
Trigger Time is brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters, Drago Gear, DS Arms, First Spear, Keltec, PNW Arms, Thunder Beast, Saber Red, Century Solutions, Delta Outdoorsman, Sport Optics, Fox Knives USA, 511 Tactical, and WW Guns.